What's up guys, this is Wenzes. Welcome back to my channel where we talk about creating an epic life on your terms. Today we're talking about how to set goals for 2020 and actually achieve them. Because let's be honest, it's not just about, oh, I have those 3 things I want to do and then you actually achieve them. That's the thing we always tell ourselves in the beginning of the year, but come February, none of this is really sticking and we don't know why this happens. And then we see those people who are doing the things they have set out to do and we wonder, what is the difference? Why are they doing it? A lot of people tell us, well, you don't really want it. If you wanted it, you would be doing it. But that's just half of the story, because we have to actually teach our mind to really want it, because the things we really want that are a necessity for us, we actually do. If we see somebody dying, we're gonna do something. If we really are faced with things that really matter to us, we're really gonna do it. So why are we not taking care of the things that matter to us so much? Why do they always get the backseat towards the things that are just mundane, everyday tasks? I'm gonna narrow it down for you because I used to be like this. I used to be somebody who really didn't do anything to change her life. It was just like the same old matrix, the same old rat race, and I wasn't getting anywhere. And then I changed those couple things, and it's really about mindset and it's really about narrowing it down. So really stay tuned for this, because this is really gonna change your entire approach, not just for 2020, but for your entire planning of your epic life creation. Before we get started, I want to remind you, at the time of this recording, I only have 2 6-month coaching packages left at the current price. With the new year, I'm completely discontinuing that and I'm raising my prices on my smaller packages. So if you really want to take advantage of like the long-term coaching benefits and you say, now I really want to invest into my future, now's the time, guys. As I said, there will never be a better time to work with me. The prices are just going up. Number 1, anchor in what you really want and think in categories. That's why I'm such a big fan of the 5 pillars of the Epic Life Masterclass. There's a free poster you can download. The link is in the description, or you can watch the webinar on this topic. But briefly here, the 5 categories are physical energy management, relationship management, wealth management, your vocation, so how you self-actualize, and your priority management. So what of those things are most important to you? And it's important that you actually start visualizing where you want your life to be. And this is not about like where you want your life to be in 1 year. This is about where you want your life to be in general. So where do you want it to be so you feel fulfilled? And if you think in those 5 categories and you don't go that big into the rabbit hole of, oh, it has to be exactly like this, but think of emotions. How do you want to feel? So in the physical energy management pillar, for example, how much energy do you want to feel in your body? How fit do you want to be? How do you take care of your nutritious needs? All of that is in that. How do you actually go about your meditative practices? It's really important to have a goal in this area. And if you start really visualizing and creating a vision board and you know where you want your life to be, then you have to start to anchor it emotionally. So one of the things you can do is actually to write down your goals every single day. And as I said, we haven't actually gotten to the point where it's about what you're going to do in 2020. This is your overall life. So don't be so naive to think that you can have everything you want in this 1 year when all the years prior you haven't done anything for it. That's the thing that keeps so many people stuck, because they believe, if I just work on improving myself and getting closer to that goal, but I'm still not achieving what I want, then why even try? Why even start? But the thing is this, the more you become the person of your dreams, the person that is actually living within that world that you designed for yourself, the closer you're getting to that, not being that person. The closer you're getting to that version, you know what happens? The more ideas you have, the easier it is for you to create the next step. So this is really, really important that you really narrow this down. And when you start creating this and you start writing down your goals every day, your mind will have something to focus on. Because otherwise, all the things that you don't want to think about, like somebody asking you for favors, or you just have mundane tasks you have to do all the time, they will have your focus. You have to really make it a point. And I really write down my goals almost every day. And there's the saying, what's the difference between a millionaire and a billionaire? Well, the billionaire writes down his or her goals twice a day. So this is not just about money, but money very often is a representation of how well we feel about ourselves. And you'll see the way I approach things, it's not about doing something that you dislike for money. This is the last thing I want to do. This is why I actually quit my corporate job. So I'm not going to lead you down this road, but you still gotta start doing this and not be afraid of it. You gotta really anchor it in your mind. And another thing you can do is to really start doing daily meditations where you really think of yourself in your perfect day. How are you gonna feel when you've achieved achieved all of those things. But before you can do that, as I said, write down a goal in all of those areas, as in where you want to go. We're not talking about 2020 yet. This is about an overall expectation. Do you want to have a family? Do you want to be financially independent? Do you want to self-actualize by writing a book? What is it? What is it that you want in this category? And if it takes some time for you to think about it, then take that time. I guarantee you, if you sit down every day for 5 minutes for a week, you'll have this vision, and then we can start creating all the goals for 2020. Number 2, really choose only 3 areas you're gonna focus on in 2020. See, this is the area where most people make the biggest mistakes when it comes to actually planning for your goals and then executing on them, because you have to be honest with yourself. If you haven't been able to accomplish all the things you wanted to do in the last years, you're not gonna be able to make a jump from 0 to 100. It's just not gonna happen, and you're sabotaging yourself if you really only tell yourself that this is the only way you're gonna feel successful. Rather, make it a point to say, I want to become a person who actually sticks to the goals he or she sets for her or himself. This is super important. You have to be okay with this being your main goal and really not doing more than those 3 things. We're really gonna talk about how you can make it very precise and focus on the thing you want specifically happening in 2020. And let's say you can achieve all of them by the middle of the year. Great, be my guest, add more to the list, but do not plan for more than 3 things this year. 3 big things you want to accomplish in your year, and 3 big things you want to make improvements in. So those 3 things could, for example, be, I want to have a successful and happy intimate relationship when you're single, for example. It can be, I want to make more money this year. And the third one can be, I want to actually start my YouTube channel and really self-actualize through there, because there I talk about what is important to me. I get to connect with people. I get to show up as a leader. So as you've seen, those things are very, very broad. I haven't really talked about what it takes to actually achieve something. Now it's just important that you really choose those 3 areas and that you're okay with letting other things go. So for me, it was really that I had to decide, okay, I can't really focus on looking for a relationship, doing the steps that it takes to actually have a relationship and be a person who can take it. Because if you've been single for a long time, or if you haven't had a healthy relationship in a long time, it's not just that you say, oh, there's nobody out there. It mainly has to do something with your mindset, and changing that mindset and really putting pressure on your limiting beliefs is hard work, and you're not going to be able to do this in all areas. So it's okay. So for me, as I said to myself in 2018, I think it was, I'm going to actually focus on my business, and first off, I'm going to focus on really creating the life that is important to me and live out how I want to live my life. And then I'm going to think about, okay, how are you going to do this when it comes to your relationships? What are you going to do? What steps are you going to take to get there? So really set out those 3 things. Don't do more than that. Now we get to step number 3, and that is to set SMART goals. SMART means specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and time bound. This is very important. So for example, the thing we set with make more money, this is not a SMART goal at all. But it's still a thing that you should think about in step number 2. It's just areas we want to have. And now we go one step further and we create SMART goals. So a SMART goal in the wealth management category would be, for example, to say, I want to make 30% more money on a monthly basis by December 2020. Because let's go through the SMART steps, right? Is it specific? Yes. We know exactly the number we're talking about. You look at your current salary and you say times 1.3, and then you have the salary you want to be earning by December 2020. Is it measurable? Yes, it is measurable. What is not measurable is, for example, to say, I want to be happier. But you can measure if you have more money in your bank account, if you're getting a higher salary. Is it achievable? Yes. You can achieve 30% more money by the end of the year, for example, by having a new job. Normally, if you make a jump to another position, it's at least 20% up. So this is really something that's a little bit of a stretch, but it's possible. It's achievable. You'll not be the first one in the world who does this. This is not like a big stretch. It is a stretch, but it's achievable and it's realistic, the R, and it's time bound. We're not saying, oh, I want to make 30% more money, period. We say by the end of 2020, specifically in December 2020. So this is something you have to do in all the areas. Another example would be your physical energy management. So if you say, I want to be fitter or I want to get fit, what is the thing that would be a smart goal. A smart goal would be, I can run for 30 minutes without problems and a pace of miles per hour by the end of November 2020. That's a smart goal. And you do that in all the 3 areas you want to achieve and you want to improve in 2020. And this is very, very important. You can always adapt those things, but if you don't even define them, you're never gonna go for it. So often I've seen people, they say, well, I just want to find a job. Well, what kind of job? How much money is it supposed to give you? What kind of satisfaction is it supposed to bring you into your life? Be specific and don't shy away from it. And very importantly, do not go over the 3 category rule. Step number 4, you start reverse engineering. So that means you actually say, okay, by the end of 2020, I want to have that job that makes me 30% more income. So what is it gonna take? What is in my locus of control? So you can never really control if people are gonna hire you. That's out of your locus of control. But you know what you can do? You can improve all your chances, all the possibilities to get there. So for example, if you go on 10 interviews, you're much more likely to get that kind of job than if you only go to 1 interview. But you're also not gonna get that job if you go on 10 interviews where people are offering you just like 70% of the amount you want. You have to have at least 130, and you have to look at what kind of job is offering that and what can I do in order to prepare for that. Maybe your CV is not up to date, or your pictures are really old and you need to retake them, or you have to talk to a headhunter to find out what it takes to get that kind of job. That is really something you have to do. And then you know, okay, if I want to have a job by December 2020 and I know I have to give in my notice of leave from the old work at least, let's say 2 months before that, then I have to find the job by September. Just, as an example. Okay, if I need to find that job by September, how many interviews can I go on and when? Well, let's say I think I can take on going on 10 interviews. Maybe I'm so well prepared and I'm lucky and I get the first one, but I want to set as a goal to myself that I'm going to go to 10 interviews that all are a place where I could actually earn that kind of money, and I prepare myself as much as possible. So what is it gonna take? I'm gonna maybe go on the first interview, get completely rejected, find out what it takes that I need to improve on. Maybe I need to work on some case studies, whatever it is, in order to get that job. But you have to be the one who says, I'm gonna go on 10 interviews, and if I don't get the job, then I know I'm a person who stuck to their goal, because if I'm not gonna get it within those 10, then maybe the next time I make a goal, I have to set out to go on 20 interviews. But right now, this is what I wanna get to, this is what I think I can commit to and what I can do. And if you're going to make those 10 interviews happen and in none of them you get the job you want, then you still see it as a victory, because your biggest goal in this is to do everything possible in your current state that is within your locus of control in order to get that job in December. But you have to reverse engineer. You have to know that the things that you're able to do have to be on point, and then to narrow it down even more. So if you want to go on those 10 interviews, when are they going to be? They're probably going to be in June and July. So there's enough time to actually figure out the thing you want to do, the job that you want to take on, where people have enough time to think about it. And so that means if you want to go on interviews starting June, then by May, you have to have applied for at least, let's say, 50 positions, and then hope that you're going to get like 10 interviews. I'm just giving examples here. I really don't know how much it really takes in your industry, where you're at. This is just like examples, but you can actually look it up. You can look in forums. There are places where you can find out what is a normal amount, what is a normal number that you can work with. This doesn't have to be like high science, but you have to actually look at it, because most people think, oh, I'm never gonna get that. They're never gonna take me. So why even try? Well, what are the things you really need? Like, figure it out, and then like think about what is the next step to improve yourself to be able to do this. Do not shy away from looking at the details because they're scaring you. It's exactly what we need to do. Same thing if you have a financial goal of getting out of debt. You know how many people don't even want to look at their monthly expenses because they're so afraid of it? But if you don't look at it, you're not going to be able to make any differences. You have to plan it out. And I actually do this to this day. I plan out, what do I want to do in the entire year? What do I want to do on a monthly basis if I reverse engineer it? And then in the beginning of each month, I have specific goals that have to be done within this month. So for example, it could be that you say in January, I'm gonna improve my CV. I'm gonna sit down. I'm gonna actually work with somebody who's gonna help me with my CV, and I'm gonna get my pictures taken again. This is something I'm gonna do in January, and I'm really gonna focus on that. I don't overwhelm myself with all the things that come after that. I really look at what's gonna happen this month. But in order to be able to do that, I need to actually reverse engineer so I know what I want. Same thing if you say, I have this goal of being fit. You know, like that's your overall goal. I want to be somebody who's strong and full of energy. Well, what is the thing you want to be able to do by the end of this year? So for example, if you say, I want to be able to run a certain amount of miles in 30 minutes and still feel good about myself. Well, what are the steps in order to get there? First, you have like running shoes. Maybe it can be that January is just about getting your equipment ready and to look up for a group who actually helps you to get there and get the support you need. Get a plan and look at the plans that you see available. If it says, if you want to really make sure that you can do this, give yourself at least 6-7 months, then give yourself that time. Do not think that it has to be quicker for you, because that way you're actually sabotaging all your chances. Yes, you might be able to do it faster, but if you set out that you're only gonna feel successful if you make all of this happen in 2 months, you're always gonna feel like you're failing, you're not making progress, and that's gonna keep you back in all areas of your life. Really narrow it down. Look at plans. Like when it comes to fitness, there are a lot of things you can use to actually apply it to your fitness goals, and to say, okay, in January, as I said, I'm gonna have a team, I'm gonna have all the equipment, and in February I really start running twice a week or once a week, something that you can stick to. The most important thing when it comes to planning and executing on goals is that you are consistent. So if you don't think you're gonna be able to actually run twice a week, then start with once a week, or start with once every other week, or say, I'm gonna start running at least twice a month, no matter when. Because in the end of each month, you have to feel that you are able to achieve your goals, because only then you're gonna have the ambition, the motivation, and the self-assurance that you can do it. Otherwise, you just keep telling yourself, oh, I had this goal and I wasn't able to make it. This might not happen on a conscious level, but it's definitely happening on a subconscious level. So when you've planned out all of those things, you've planned it out in those 3 categories that you want. You have the overall goal that you have for the year and all of those categories, and you have reverse engineered them so you know exactly what you want to achieve in each month. Then it's time for number 5, which is to declutter your negative beliefs, your limiting self-beliefs that you carry with yourself. Because the thing is this, it really comes down to knowing that the reason why you're not going towards the things you want to go towards, it's because there are things that are keeping us stuck where we at. And I talk about it in so many of my videos, because this is really the difference between somebody who makes it happen and who just dreams about it. Yes, it's about goal setting. Yes, it's about being specific. Yes, it's about planning it out. But none of this will work if you don't look at the things that are holding you back. Because if you don't do this, your mind will always find a reason why it goes back to the status quo. So there are a lot of ways you can do this. One of them is forgiveness work, because forgiveness is so important, and it's about forgiving yourself and forgiving others for things that have happened in the past that are keeping you at the same level you think you're at right now. So for example, if you're really angry at somebody who took all your money away, or who wasn't really appreciative of what you have to offer, as long as you carry this within yourself, you're gonna keep creating a reality that always mirrors back to you that somebody wasn't right towards you, that somebody hurt you, that you are not enough, that you don't deserve it. And it's so much work when it comes to forgiveness. This is not something you can do in a day. I actually do forgiveness work or other things that are decluttering my mind on almost a daily basis, because I know how important it is. And every time I'm able to declutter some things that are going on, I'm able to move on. So there are a lot of great books you can read on this topic. I talked about in the last videos, The Great Leap, for example, by Gay Hendricks, is a great book that shows you how to actually overcome those things that are keeping us at this current state of abundance. We have to learn how to overcome it. But forgiveness is also a hugely important tool that you have to look into. So if you really want to know more about this, because this is not something I can tell you now in 2 minutes, then really watch my video on how to forgive, because this is really gonna help you. And if you want to know more about creating an epic life on your terms, really going deeper into this and understanding what it takes to create an epic life on your terms, then watch my webinar. And as I said, if you really want to say now is the time, I really want to look into my life, I really want to take charge, I don't want to wait one more day, then really check out my offers on one-on-one coaching. The prices are going up in 2020 and I'm discontinuing my 6-month package. So if you're watching this while it's coming out, this is really the best time ever. I really hope that helped you. I wish you a wonderful year 2020. You got everything it takes. You just gotta apply yourself and be willing to start small and build on it. I believe in you. I trust you can achieve everything you want in this life. You deserve an epic life, so go for it. Like always, guys, I wish you a wonderful day, a great week, and I talk to you in 2020. Bye.